Alright guys, apologies for the delay, but we can finally get underway here for the Summit 4 China qualifiers. We've got one lower bracket best of 3 coming your way today, and that's going to be LGD up against Invictus Gaming. These two teams got dropped down into the lower bracket in the very first round of the playoff portion here, but they've both managed to travel all the way through. They even 2-0'd their opponents in the previous round, but now only one of them can advance. So we've already got a draft underway, so let's switch that over very quickly for you guys, get you some in-game audio, and let's get underway for LGD versus Invictus Gaming. I'm Basskip. I was supposed to be joined by Winter here, but he's been a no-show, unfortunately, so looks like I'm going to be solo for Game 1. If Winter isn't around for Game 2, then I think either Gods or maybe Lyrical might be joining me for Game 2 onwards. So rest assured, there will definitely be somebody joining me after Game 1, but looks like I'm going to be going it alone here. So the draft has already unfolded pretty substantially. I had some technical issues loading into the game, unfortunately, so with the intro, things have gotten a bit away from me, but we're going to have the Broodmother and the SF banned out by LGD. Going to end up grabbing a Tusk and an Undying early on. Invictus Gaming opting to ban out that RTK Darkseer that he's been picking up in the first two oh so often. And that's going to lead into a Slardar and a Queen of Pain for them. Invictus Gaming going to pick up something that we haven't been seeing a whole lot of recently, which is the Wisp, but definitely looking forward to seeing what they can get done with it this game. Not 100% clear what exactly the Wisp is going to be run with just yet. All right with Slardar, but not necessarily all that crazy. It's LGD are just going to continue to pile on the early game here as they grab the Visage. So they've got tons of early fight. The Undying and the Visage are sort of your classical tri-lane versus tri-lane dominators, though tri-lane versus tri-lane tends to be way less of a thing than it used to be in the past. This is much more an era of dual cores and dual lanes than anything else. So we'll see if they're really going to be able to harness that strength. I think we have already seen LGD running this Visage strat the once, or maybe I'm thinking of IG yesterday, but running it, putting it on the safe lane, just picking up a carry that can head into the jungle relatively early on. And that could be the same kind of play here, looking towards something like a Jug or a Lycan to give this very aggressive strat just that little bit more tower damage and a little bit more sustained, though. The new and improved Soul Rip is actually pretty amazing sustain in and of itself. And Invictus Gaming, not the strongest lineup when it comes to spamming out waves and high ground defense, though. They are going to add a Tiny to the lineup, and looks like that is going to be the Wisp partner here. So we've already got all 3 cores picked up, just looking for a remaining support. LGD, meanwhile, they're still pretty flexible on the whole, just going to grab themselves a Wind Ranger, and this is looking very similar to a lineup that we saw yesterday, which was, in that game, rounded out with a Lycan. So they got lots of tower damage. Got a decent amount of control now. Could get some 6 shackles latching the Tiny to the Wisp, or vice versa. And I think always going to be nice to have against the Queen of Pain, who they haven't really grabbed all that much lockdown for just yet. So pretty solid all-around pickup. Other bans don't really suggest anything too strongly. We've already got through the second round of picks. The downside of getting to the draft a little bit late, but Invictus Gaming, what are they thinking here? I think LGD is still definitely looking for their 1 position hero, so it's just a question of what exactly that is going to be. If, say, the Lycan gets banned, a Drow could still fit decently into this lineup. I think the Jug is still alright, but I think probably not what LGD would prefer. Their lineup's pretty well geared to take an early Roshan, even if Invictus Gaming know about it. If the Undying is off to a decent start, as is the Tusk, then I think they should be able to take a fight around the pit just fine. So should be able to saunter in there and pick up Roshan at some relatively early point this game, depending on how the laning stage goes. Invictus Gaming aren't not looking too bad in their lanes. They got the Queen of Pain, and I guess now just looking for probably somebody to back up the Slardar, or maybe just a roaming support to move around. They've actually got a lot of options in terms of how they choose to set these lanes. Could see the Tiny Wisp heading towards mid with the Queen of Pain on the safe lane, or it could be the other way around. Though given that they are over on the Radiant side, I think we are likely to see that Tiny Wisp on mid, with Wisp taking full advantage of the fact that he's got close proximity to the Radiant jungle, and he can just stack things up for the Tiny that way.
5 seconds remaining.
So just leaves the secondary support for IG. What are they lacking? They've got decent amount of lockdown between Tiny and the Slardar. Slardar and Queen of Pain not too bad at moving around and setting up for potential relocate ganks coming in, so they don't necessarily need somebody like a Bounty Hunter or a Nyx Assassin to be setting things up on that front. Someone who offers a little bit of team fight and a little bit of wave
10
clear
seconds remaining.
could be good, and I think that was somewhat of the angle that LGD were targeting when they got rid of that Dazzle. So what's the choice going to be? Okay, well, the pick happened and my game has apparently frozen. It turns out it's Night Stalker. I'm having some issues, some technical issues today, guys. I don't know if my hard drive is dying or what, but I loaded in really slowly. My draft screen was totally bust, and now, well, as you can see, that last pick has done something. So I don't know if it was the recent patch, or I don't know if it's something weird, but I'm just gonna cross my fingers and hope that everything works, because this is a little bit scary. But anyway, so we've got what looks like Night Stalker is the final pick, another good hero to run around and potentially find relocate ganks coming in for the Tiny and the Wisp. Doesn't give them a whole lot more wave clear, so I think that's still going to be a little bit of an issue for them. But if they manage to get into the mid game and the Queen of Pain and the Tiny and the Wisp can start opening up the map, and they do manage to get down some tier 1 towers, then I think they should be able to settle into a pretty comfortable rhythm. But the question is whether or not LGD are even going to let them get to that point, since they can start moving even 6 or 7 minutes into the game and start running around and getting things done. So for IG, it's really going to be about whether or not they can weather the storm. And the Slardar can be a little bit slow to start in the off lane as well, so that is somewhat concerning for IG, since he is the brunt of their team fight and pretty much their only source of initiation this game. And LGD just getting around things out with the Ember. Alright, so not on the same line that I was talking about, sort of the Jug, the Drow. Looks like they decided that the Visage and the Wind Ranger is enough push power, and they're just going to continue to add to this early fighting potential with this Ember Spirit. So LGD really making a statement about how they want the early game to go and how they want to really snowball from there. And we'll just have to see if IG can hold out, if Chuan on this Night Stalker is going to be able to run around and get a whole lot done. Just going to wait on everybody to pick up their heroes. In terms of this matchup, I'm honestly not sure how to size up these two teams. I think looking at the bets, IG were pretty heavily favored, but LGD have also looked really solid of late, so we'll have to see how this matchup goes as I switch it over to the wrong overlay. A little bit of lag, come on. We're loading.
Prepare for battle.
And we are good. Alright. I don't know if they... I am concerned, guys. But anyway, we're in the game. IG versus LGD. Best of 3 for survival here in the Summit 4. Both of these two teams are so close to making it to the end of the bracket here. There will be 2 teams qualifying out of China, I believe. So it's actually just this match and then one more against the loser of your winner bracket match to be able to qualify through. So let's get underway with introductions. Over on LGD we have Sylar playing the Windrunner. We've got DDC on Visage, MMY on Tusk, RRTK on Undying, and finally maybe over on the Ember Spirit. He's had some pretty flashy performances in the last couple of days. Most notably, I think, a amazing Shadow Fiend game, really putting the team on his back. So we'll see if he can do the same with his somewhat signature Ember Spirit. Meanwhile, over for IG, we have Rabbit on Tiny, C or Luo on the Slardar. Little Super is going to be over on the Wisp. We've got Ferrari 430 on the Queen of Pain, and Chuan finally is going to be on the Night Stalker. Bounty Run's going to pop up. Looks like both teams going to get one apiece here, so nothing too shocking to start at this game. Nothing really too crazy happening in terms of the early warding. IG not TPing anybody out, nor did LGD, and Looks like we are just going to settle in. Where is the second LGD ward? It's over in the hands of MMY right now, and looks like he's going to try and block these creeps into the tree line here. I'm still getting some spikes, but I hazard to try and reconnect. So I think just going to have to stick with it for now, though it does seem to be getting a little bit worse as time goes on. Oh boy. Alright, so in terms of how this mid lane is going to go, Stylar's going to get bullied. Don't expect him to get even close to perfect TS, but he can sit pretty far back, spam power shots, at least get a little bit going for himself. Looks like some trouble for Luo on the top lane, gets the crush off, and looks like he's going to be alright. And I think I am going to have to try for a reconnect here, guys, since this is not looking good. Yep, that was the crush that happened 10 seconds ago. I'll give it 10 more seconds, and if it doesn't clear up, then try the old DC reconnect. But in terms of how these lanes are starting, it's actually looking really good for LGD on the whole. IG not opting to cut down any of these trees over by these camps, so not going to be any double stacks happening from Super here, just going to be the single stack over on the big camp so far. And yeah, I'm just going to have to try and reconnect. I'm sorry about this, guys. Rabbit gonna try for a toss back. Oh, he gets it all the way to the ranged creep, but Sylar still got the wind run, and looks like he's gonna be a-okay. All right, let's hope this is fast. Come on. Oh boy. Perfect world, have mercy. Nope. Oh boy. Ah. We're back. Are we good? It looks good. Alright, so 3 minutes in. Really good farm on the Ember. The Windrunner is actually doing great on mid lane. 11 and 4 against the Tiny's 10 and 4. So really holding her own here. As far as the bottom lane goes, Ferrari's still getting pretty good CS, but RTK matching that. And it looks like MMY is going to be running around a little bit here. We don't have any blocked out pull camps or anything, so this should be a pretty high experience game. And Chuan starting the game out slow, looks like he's going to start running some pulls. Loses control of this one though, and that's going to be free experience pretty much immediately going the way of RTK, but we've got a snowball coming in mid. They're looking for super power shot connect, but the ice shard has already been used, as DDC is actually going to be the one to pick up a kill on top lane of all places, as it looks like the Slardar got nuked down by the tail end of a soul assumption. And well, sound still not perfect, but at least the gameplay is up to date. So MMY, unsuccessful rotation, but he's still got some clarities in the mango, so going to be able to pick himself up and keep on going. Luo at least going to be happy that death pushed the creep wave a little bit closer to his tower. Chuan slows down RTK with the void so that he can scoot right past him and steal that bouncy rune from underneath his nose. Gets the tombstone for good measure. Could have maybe run up and given that a few hits, taken it down and picked up the freebie, but he's actually continuing to chase through here, and Ferrari's actually run past the tower, gets the sting off onto RTK. This is a pretty big dive, but it looks like it should be successful for IG. Chuan's got boots, and no one is on their way to help out RTK. Looks like there will be a TP coming in from the Ember. Survives a little bit longer with the Soul Rip, but not quite enough. Silence onto maybe body blocking up Chuan, but he's still pretty healthy, and it looks like this Ember rotation not really going to accomplish anything, though. MMY is on the chase. Blocks off maybe with the shards, unfortunately. Could have popped the mango and gotten off the searing chains if they'd just been able to give chase with the snowball, but MMY, a little bit of a misplay there, I would say, with the ice shards. So that's a TP, a rotation, and no punish on IG, so definitely a win there for the IG side. Sylar in a little bit of trouble on mid, but he pops the window and manages to get a little bit further away. Rabbit's looking for the auto attack, and in comes Chuan as well. Rabbit now gets shackled up, but is there enough damage to finish him off? No, and MMY gets a creep drop on his head. Chuan making a big statement in the early stage of this first game. First nighttime, and that's already 3 kills that he's managed to participate in. So things looking really good for the Night Stalker out of the gate, and not looking good for LGD with the kind of lineup that they're looking at here. It's not that they can't go late game. The Windrunner and the Ember Spirit are both very capable, but I think they're definitely looking to make more happen with the Visage and the Undying if possible. RTK is actually taken over top lane for a little bit here, so we've got lane swaps all over the place. Maybe is still chilling down on bottom. DDC's TP down to join him. MMY also making a rotation down, but he's been spotted out by this Observer Ward, so Ferrari's just playing back defensively, nice and safe. Chuan's looking for one more kill on top. Just waiting for RTK to run in and potentially get crushed by Luo, but looks like RTK has some kind of a sense of what's going on here. No, he runs forward right into a crush, into the void, into the silence, and looks like he's just going to get clobbered down here. Another easy kill for Chuan. Dive attempted on bottom lane. There's a snowball coming forward, but I think Ferrari's been able to blink far enough away. They spot him in the trees, but they don't have any way to reach him, and now Rabbit's going to come in with an available combo. Almost drops MMI immediately. Sonic Wave just flying out of the trees to finish him off there. And IG going to extend their lead 5-1. Every single one of the IG TPs and IG rotations has stuck, and LGD can't say the same for their attempt. They're still leading on farm on both Maybe and Sylar, so the laning configuration still working out nicely, but Chuan's looking to continue breaking that down as he heads in on the mid lane here. Gets the Void along with the Silence. Rabbit comes from the south, gets the toss. Combo comes out. MMY gonna try and TP in for the save, but no chance. Now 6-1. IG, this last pick Night Stalker, is wreaking absolute havoc so far. And LGD, they've got a couple of wards around the place. This one, a little bit too little too late. Chuan already coming in from that angle to find the attack, and RTK still the one farming the safe lane here, but I was worried about Luo. I thought that the offlane Slardar might get off to a slow start, not get a blink, and not be ready to teamfight when LGD started pushing, but he's looking just fine now that the top lane has been pretty much completely vacated. And I understand the concern from LGD and trying to put pressure on the Queen of Pain and the Tiny first and foremost, but that's really not been working out for them so far. 8-minute rune's gonna pop up. Let's see if that can change the fortunes here a little bit for LGD. Nope, just gonna be a bounty for Maybe. There is a double damage on the top side, but looks like that's just going to be going to Super, and Maybe is rotating into the mid lane here, looking for Rabbit, who's just going to run up towards his Wisp. There isn't a relocate just yet, and Sylar continuing the pursuit. Shackle is going to land, Maybe changing targets over onto Super, who tanks the power shot, and it looks like it might just be the Wisp going down. No, the Ice Shards comes in from MMY, catches out Rabbit, and LGD know it. They're going to come in here and look for a second kill. Takes a 4-hero rotation, but well worth it end of the day, as they do pick up a double kill on Sylar. So starting to show a little bit more of what their lineup is capable of here, as we're still really early into this game, more than a kill a minute so far. Ferrari gonna take this opportunity to lay into the bottom tower a bit. DDC almost has his level 6, so his participation in those last couple of kills is gonna show up somewhat on the, in the levels at the very least. And with that, LGD are going to manage to put at least a little bit of a dent in this experience and net worth lead that IG were building up early on here. Looks like Sylar is going to TP down to bottom to try and defend this tier 1. Doesn't have a whole lot of mana, and the glyph's already been used, so IG going to grab that at some point. And Rabbit and Luo still looking towards this, well, still looking towards Blink Daggers. I would think Rabbit's ready to toss Luo in on MMY, but looks like they're going to think better of it, perhaps. There's another TP going bottom. If they spot RTK, they might go for this dive, knowing that the Windrunner TP'd down bottom not too long ago, and knowing that RTK is down there now. Do have to be a little bit cautious of the Ember Spirit, as always, but it might actually be Maybe who needs to reconsider here. Yeah, not going to be able to get his hands on that 10-minute rune, so bounty for Super, regen for Sylar.
Dire's middle tower. is
LGD
under
moving
attack.
around the map a whole lot and still not really accomplishing anything outside of those couple of kills that they found over towards the top rune. Maybe still just playing this early game a little bit slow, just going back to farming somewhat on top. RTK has some arcane boots, but no sign of any mech components or anything from him just yet. And it looks like MMY just working towards an urn right now. Probably start to see some medallion components coming out on DDC before too long, as LGD could look towards that Roshan again at some early stage this game. Though IG may already be equipped to deal with them. Ferrari's doing pretty well. There's already 1300 gold on this Slardar. LGD gonna smoke up and look for the kill on Ferrari here. There's a lot of heroes absent from the map. And looks like Ferrari is a little bit suspicious of this. Maybe he's looking to come around from the side, get the Side of Fist Chains combo off, and keep the Queen of Pain locked in place. I don't know if she caught a glimpse of maybe on the creep wave there. And they get the jump forward. They will manage to get the chains off. The snowball stun coming in as well. And no escape for Ferrari, as another big 4-man rotation from LGD does find yet another kill. Well, there were IG heroes kind of in the neighborhood, but just a little bit too far away to really help out there. Already got 2.2k gold on Tiny, so very close to having his Blink Dagger up. But it looks like LGD have decided that now is the time to 5-man to start bringing some towers down, and Sylar, for his own part, is ready to defend on mid lane, spamming out some power shots. Looks like this should be a pretty uneven trade in LGD's favor here. They're going to get this tier 1 tower. They've got a couple of TPs available, and this tier 1 mid is still very healthy. Rabbit still going to combo down the wave and apply some pressure, but you can just kind of see it in the movements of his teammates. People are not sticking around. Luo would much rather go and grab some more farm on top lane and have his blink to join the Tinies as this next night settles in. So Chuan made a bunch of really big plays on the previous night, picked up 5 kills for his team. We'll see if he can pull off kind of a repeat performance here. There is a Dire Observer Ward over towards mid, but looks like they have been spotted out by this well-placed IG ward, so IG not going to be caught from the flank here. Are going to retreat back up the hill, go for a smoke. Familiar's coming in. Maybe also considering moving forward aggressively. Smoke's going to get dispelled, and now Rabbit knows what's up. Going to throw some pings over towards the trees as this awkward standoff is going to continue. Sylar does push the creep wave in towards the tower, and it looks like LGD are just going to turn their attentions in that direction. As IG haven't quite yet decided what exactly they want to do. They do have Luo TPing back, picking up his Blink Dagger. So they've got 2 unrevealed blinks that they can look to leverage in this next fight. Pick something up, and they're going to grab another smoke for the Wisp here. So it looks like IG are actually going to make a statement early on here that they want to fight LGD right out of the gate, but tier 1 tower has already fallen, and LGD just going to back themselves up. DDC with 800 gold. What do we got? MMY just getting his urn delivered here. As Chuan's going to swing up towards top. Bottom tower is still very low, but maybe he's actually going to take some time out of his busy schedule to deny that. So a bit of a dent in IG's pocket, but I think they're still holding on to a very slight lead. If not on net worth, definitely on experience, actually pushing up to about 3k here, and just kind of showing that LGD have been 5-manning a little bit more, and they have been a little bit less effective in the time that they've been spending roaming around the map. And another big 5-man rotation coming out here. Ferrari once again a little bit suspicious, but is he suspicious enough of this? RTK's just going to reveal himself, so it looks like Ferrari gonna take that as a take that as a reason to just go over and push out the mid lane a little bit. So IG not choosing to defend their towers just yet, instead gonna look for some trades here. Looks like they are gonna get this tier 1 tower top lane absolutely no problem. Sylar not gonna be going for a blink early on, is just gonna pick up the point boost so far. Could still go back for a blink, or we could just be seeing the straight up Agnes Center builds from him. Ferrari gonna get caught by the chains on mid lane, and the pursuit will continue for maybe, but not quite able to blink far enough forward. Super comes in with the relocate, but not bringing anybody with him. So this relocate from IG gonna be a little bit of a flub, but both teams still just kind of testing one another out, trying to figure out where exactly everybody is, since a lot of the vision and a lot of the map control is centered around mid lane right now, and both teams are kind of spending a lot of time over in the side lanes. Rabbit Spots at Sylar, throws out a couple of pings, doesn't know quite who's waiting just around the corner, but he's going to jump in anyway. Looks for the kill, MMY with a snowball counter initiation, but Luo jumps in with the crush and pops down one. MMY in big trouble, but does manage to limp a little bit further back. Rabbit still healthy with the help of the Wisp, but Luo unable to escape. The sprint wears off and the Soul Assumption chops him down, and maybe looking for the pursuit, gets the Sleight of Fist off, does not have enough mana for a chains. And looks like Ferrari is going to be able to make his escape, blinking a little bit further away. Sylar bought back in the midst of all of that, so still some pretty big economic damage dealt to LGD, but they are going to come out well ahead in that fight. 2k experience, 360 gold. IG only losing out a little bit. That looks like LGD going to add a little bit more hurt on top of that, as they are going to take this tier 1 tower on the top lane. IG again, still making some trades, still finding a little bit of a footing, but I think that first big fight with double blink dagger not quite going as well as they would have liked. Maybe he's just picked up some boots of travel so far, so he looks like he's going to be the big hero that they have to try and deal with the split push once it starts to ramp up a little bit later. And I really like the last pick Ember, I think, from that perspective, that even if it does get to the mid game and it does get to the point where IG have taken all the tier 1s and the Queen of Pain and the Tiny Wisp are both pushing side lanes and making it difficult for LGD to push even further forward, even if they do have a lead, well, the Ember can go back, clear waves, at least protect the towers a little bit, and still be ready to join his team, either with the left behind Remnant or the Boots of Travel. So, not the heroes that we're necessarily used to seeing this kind of Ember strat deployed against. I think it really started kind of gaining popularity against Nature's Prophet and the like, but the exact same thing kind of works out here. Chuan scouting out bottom lane, gonna get the silence off. The relocate's gonna come in. It's only a daytime silence. Is it gonna be a long enough duration? No. Super and Rabbit unfortunately arriving a little bit too late there. Unfortunately, Darkness wasn't available for Chuan, so there wasn't any way that he could keep the Ember locked down any longer there. So maybe escapes. We do have the medallion up now on DDC, so could see another LGD smoke expended to try and head into the Roshan pit and grab that one for themselves. Should be somewhat transparent to IG, but the position of the lanes does mask it a bit, and it looks like it's actually LGD gonna try for a pickoff first before they drift into anything else. IG are distributed all over the map right now. I think the other thing is probably LGD trying to make as much use of this bit of daytime as they can, but still have all 5 heroes here. Rabbit is just going to continue applying pressure top. Relocate still on cooldown for 30 seconds time, but he does have a TP scroll to come back if necessary. Focus Fire is being used on the tower. That does lower the Wind Ranger's damage output by a little bit, but it looks like IG not too interested in defending this. Maybe gonna try and catch some heroes on the way out, but they don't have the relocate, and TPs are now coming in. Rabbit might be in some trouble. Now caught by the chains. Super unable to bring his teammate out of here. Just gonna stick around with the overcharge for as long as he possibly can. And they're now gonna split. Rabbit goes to the right. Looks like he's gonna go down. Super does manage to just barely TP out. But LGD find a very favorable, well, not even exchange. They don't lose the tier 2. They get the tier 2, and they will manage to kill off the Tiny, stalling his progress towards the Aghanim Scepter by just that little bit. Did IG find anything else in the meantime? No, bottom tower was denied. So no, IG just kind of finding a little bit of farm. Does Ferrari have his Orchid completed? He does, in fact. Alright, so at least something going right for IG in that last little bit, but LGD definitely starting to build up some momentum. They're still technically behind on net worth and experience, but still definitely the ones controlling the pace of this game right now. And maybe after those last couple of kills, well, actually only has the 1 kill to his name right now, but still working pretty quickly towards the Battle Fury. Unfortunately, the relocate ganks just really have not worked out for IG. Might try for another round once the Night Stalker has nighttime again, but looks like for now they're just going to be content to continue farming. And LGD content to continue 5-manning by all accounts. Maybe kind of always ready to join them. Able to Boots of Travel out of the familiars, for example. It is going to be the Ags as the decision for the Wind Rangers, so looks like it is going to be up to the Tusk and the Ember to be locking down this Queen of Pain as best they can. LGD do make their bid for Roshan as IG are going to take one more swipe at this top tier 2 Rabbit, playing a little bit cautious this time around, but looks like they should be alright to claim this one. Medallion making pretty quick work of Roshan, but not as quick as it would have in the past, and Rabbit able to claim that tower without too much fuss. He's going to have his Aghanims completed in just a second. But LGD, the question now becomes how much can they get done with this Aegis? We got some pretty good vision around the Radiant jungle, so Chuan just going to scatter backwards here. We do have some TPs sent back. MMY actually already in position to defend. Maybe going to join him. And Undying managing to pick up a mech. I think RTK had a slower game than he was hoping for, but still worked it alright. And some of it was he just didn't get help. The snowball dodge! Great play from MMY, gonna help keep maybe safe here. Looks like Ferrari's now the one in some trouble. IG making their escape. They do have the relocate, but they have to be careful that it doesn't get interrupted. The Sleight of Fist is on cooldown, but maybe able to jump forward with the Remnant Super. Still tethers away, gets the TP off. Really nicely done. Rabbit looks like also going to be fine to make his escape. Great individual play out of MMY, but IG still managing to cut their losses at least a bit. It's extremely unfortunate for Ferrari that the grand unveiling of that Orchid is not really going to accomplish anything. They were very much hoping for that kill on the Ember, but MMY just happened to be right place, right time, and that's only going to get easier now that he has his Blink Dagger picked up here for the Tusk. And LGD, they're all in the mid lane right now. Tier 2s are still up on both bottom and top, but are they going to try and make something big happen here? They know that the Sonic Wave is on cooldown, but that's the only big thing that IG are really lacking, but LGD, a high ground they will go. We've got the Battle Fury up for the Ember Spirit Familiars, doing a little bit of damage. We're going to come forward, starts to throw out some amp damage, but he's the only one that can really initiate into this fight. And it does have to be a concern. They're going to jump in, they look for maybe, but MMY fast on the Blink Snowball. That's going to send them deeper into the base, however, this could be dangerous. MMY likely going down here, maybe does manage to escape. Gets bursted down, but the tier 3 also going to take a fall. The Tombstone not going to be sticking around for too much longer. Chuan runs forward to try and deal with it, but he gets shackled to his teammate. Super still keeping Rabbit healthy. They're going to focus down the Tomb and look to get a little bit further outside of the base, but DDC with the Soul Assumption snipes down the Wisp. Another Soul Assumption comes out on the Chuan, but Luo with the big crush, and Rabbit jumps forward with the Avatos combo. Silo's still alive, and he still has that Aegis available. Another great Shackle comes out. Luo continuing the pursuit, has a Force Staff, and still has another crush. It looks like everybody else from LGD's being able to make their way a little bit further out, and Sylar will be brought down for the second time as IG do clean up this fight, but not without losses. Did end up buying back on the Wisp, but got through the Aegis, got through another 3 kills, and still all that only at the cost of their tier 3 tower. And LGD just feel really rushed. I mean, it was a big opportunity going with the Sonic Wave on cooldown and the Undying kind of just reaching level 11 and getting a pretty big peak in power, but I don't know, they really threw their bodies at that, and even if they'd gotten the one lane of Rex, there's still these tier 2s up, so I don't know, I guess they're feeling very pressured to start ending this game quickly. The one nice thing about claiming a really early lane of Rex against the Queen of Pain, and especially the Tiny Wisp, is that you're going to force the Tiny Wisp to spend a little bit more time dealing with the Rex lane and less time pressuring your side of the map, so I think it's good from that perspective, and it's totally understandable, but yeah, it just probably didn't quite work out the way that they were hoping. Unfortunately, Luo got a couple of really solid crushes off there as well to prevent the retreat. I think LGD were hoping to back up, wait for the Tombstone, kind of rinse, reset, since they did have a pretty decent duration left on the Aegis. There's still a minute on the clock, had it not popped, but so just going to continue 5-manning. IG going to head towards top lane. Ferrari actually teaming up with the Tiny Wisp at the moment. I don't have any vision in the area. Did Wisp bring some wards along? Yeah, he did, so looks like he's going to be able to plant those down and make this split push just that little bit safer. And on the topic of vision, how is Chuan's Aghanim Scepter coming along? Still another 1k gold before he can grab onto that, but shouldn't take him too long at current rates of farm. Meanwhile, maybe has just picked up a Blade of Alacrity, so it looks like we're going to be seeing a Manta coming out of him before too long, and it's actually a completed Yasha over on the Courier. So I should be seeing that somewhat soon. Luo is just working on what I would think is a BKB. There's an outside chance of a Heaven's Halberd as well, since the Wind Ranger doesn't have a BKB picked up just yet, but I think we are somewhat likely to see a BKB on Sylar before too long. There is a Glimmer Cape on the Undying to help out somewhat against the Magical Burst, but there's still a lot of lockdown and the pesky silence to deal with as well. Can't underrate the mischance on this Crippling Fear, especially against a hero like Wind Ranger. They're going to spot out Rabbit, and Super Rabbit manages to get the blink away, reacting quickly enough, but was it in time? Not quite. Rabbit's going to get caught by the Ice Shard. It looks like he's also going to be brought down, does as much damage as he can before he dies. But MMY is still going to survive, and that's a double kill picked up for Maybe. Is this the opening that LGD were looking for? They kind of opened it up earlier by taking down the tier 3, and they all find themselves pretty nicely situated on the mid lane. Ferrari, realizing what's going on, looks like he's going to go and just take out a couple of waves on bottom lane and look to join a bit later. There is a buyback on the Tiny, but no buyback on the Wisp, and LGD are well aware of that, so straight up to the high ground they'll go. Tiny's gonna buy back, really wanting to hold on to this lane of Rax early on here. Luo trying to come in and lay down some amplified damage, but can't really do it. Tombstone proving to be a bit of a nuisance. Ferrari forced back, doesn't have any way to deal with this. Doesn't have any way to deal with disables if they start coming his way, and MMY's gonna jump in with the punch. They're looking to burst Ferrari, and he doesn't get a single spell off. Buys back immediately. The ranged Rax has already gone. The Tombstone not gonna last much longer, but it looks like LGD still gonna try and hold firm. Rabbit does come forward with Tron to try and deal with the Tomb, but the Ice Shards come in, and Rabbit's dropping really low. Tron's actually the one tethered at the moment. Luo jumps in, gets a 3-hero crush, but what more can they do? Nice Sonic Wave, but the mech from RTK is gonna keep everybody healthy. And will they decide to keep on pressing forward here? Tron's got the vision from the Aghanim Scepter if they do try and give pursuit, but it looks like they're just going to let LGD back off. And LGD have to be so happy with that. They got the buyback out of the Tiny, they got the buyback out of the Queen of Pain, and they managed to pick up the ranged Rex on the mid lane. And IG realizing that they have to go and get something ASAP. Gonna smoke outside of the base. They don't have the darkness, but night will fall anyway in about 30 seconds time. And IG really wanting to make some more use out of this Orchid. They're going to spot Sylar as they come around the corner, but RTK's got the Glimmer Cape. Throws it out. Do they have any detection here? They didn't manage to drop the Amplify damage. And it's actually LGD who are the ones sent scattering. IG, what did I say? IG are the ones who are sent scattering. So, solid attempt at a smoke, but once again, sort of the utility plays from, or the support plays from LGD. MMY, right place, right time for the save on top for Maybe, and RTK now the one to save out Sylar. So IG really struggling to connect, especially with Ferrari this game. Had a decent start in lane, got pressured a little bit, but just hasn't found a single good opportunity with this Orchid since picking it up. And I kind of talked about it as something that might start to turn the tides, but really has not been the case. Super's in some trouble, does manage to tether a little bit further away towards Rabbit. Super just going for the TP out. Rabbit still wants to clear some waves before he makes his escape, and looks like he's going to be just fine. Picks up a TP scroll over in the trees. Playing that to the absolute limit, but still going to work out alright for him. He probably needs to be a bit more safe, given that LGD know that he doesn't have buyback. Losing cores on IG at this stage is probably going to mean 2 lanes of Rax almost immediately if LGD come out kind of unscathed. And even if they are damaged, they still got the Urn, the mech, and the Soul Rip. RTK just wandering down the middle lane. Is going to get caught out here by Luo and Ferrari. They're even going to bring in the relocate. They want this kill and will secure it 100%. Luo grabs that one. And IG still continuing to pressure out onto the map. Probably expect to see a gem picked up before too long. As soon as somebody can afford the farm, but the majority of the LGD vision is actually over in the Radiant jungle right now anyways, so. IG not really being scouted out. Chuan, however, has scouted out. Maybe he's going for the TP out, but they get the crush. They get the void, they get the silence. Is the Manta style complete? It is, but maybe doesn't have a remnant out. He gets bashed, jumps a little bit further away. Darkness is going to get popped. And Ferrari's still in the neighborhood as well. Knows that the Manta's on cooldown. It's an aggressive jump forward for maybe get silence, but now MMY comes in with another snowball. Saves from the Sonic Wave. Looks like Chuan's going to be the one turned around on here. Rabbit arrives, dishing out good damage, but his team is pretty much completely abandoned him. Super comes in with the overcharge, trying to keep him alive, but it's just going to be another death. DDC picking up the double, and MMY making some ridiculous plays on this Tusk. And like I was saying, if cores die, there's no buyback. This might just be straight up 2 lanes or Axe. Ferrari's going to do his best to push at bottom, but he used the Sonic Wave already. And yeah, LGD just going to cruise on in here, no problem. Melee barracks will fall quickly, still 30 seconds left on the tiny. Luo not going to poke his head forward just in case. He does actually have buyback, but no reason to throw away a life here. They don't have Glyph either. Sylar just going to start laying into this tier 3 tower pretty quickly. RTK with Tombstone, good defensive position, forcing IG to really commit to this fight if they want to try and bring it down. Luo with the blink in the Force Staff away. Gets the Glimmer Cape over onto Sylar, but Ferrari gets locked down by the familiar stuns. Relocate actually going to come back there. Super going for a save, but LGD not going to commit in the slightest. Just going to take what bit of damage they could get on the tier 3 and back themselves up. So it did take them a bit longer to push than I was expecting, but the Desolator from the Wind Ranger is going to speed things up considerably, and Roshan has already respawned, so should probably see that Aegis in the hands of the Wind Ranger before too long, though not if IG have anything to say about it. They don't have much longer left on this nighttime, but there is going to be a darkness coming up a few seconds into the dawn of the next day, and that should help quite a bit in taking this next fight. Vision from LGD is good, but it's a false sense of security against this smoke. They're holding onto the high ground, looking to dispel it. They jump up. They had the vision. They're looking to burst, maybe, but he gets saved so far by the snowball and the Glimmer Cape. Rabbit now in some trouble, blocked off from his team by the ice shards, but Ferrari 430 and Chuan both jump forward, looking to deal damage. They don't have the sustain from the Tiny anymore, however, and Ferrari's already blinked over into the trees. DDC picks up a dominating streak. One last auto attack from Sylar finds that kill, and Chuan, realizing what was about to happen, the Roshan into the inevitable next push, is just going to tap out and call the GG as LGD take a very convincing game 1. Didn't even find the kills that necessarily they were hoping for in the early game. IG held on to a small lead, net worth-wise and experience-wise, in the early stages, but Ferrari's Quap never really getting online, and it felt like only 1 or 2 out of the dozen or so relocates that we saw had any impact. So it's going to be back to the drawing board for IG, but they don't have a whole lot of time to contemplate, given that it's only a best of 3 and that this is the lower bracket. So they're going to be facing elimination, and that's going to be our next game coming up for this best of 3, guys. Make sure you stick around.